Of course, sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I regret it. Sometimes I'm very tired.
Yeah.
But I think it's, taking responsibility comes in with understanding both sides, not just like, okay, this is all gonna be uh, blue skies and, birds singing and like running in the field with the daisies.
Yeah.
You understand it's gonna be hard as well. But what do
Yeah.
you want to do? You know?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Friederike Peters, and I'm a life patterns expert. I help people get unstuck in their lives and move forward from whatever is holding them back. And today I'm talking to my friend and colleague Ruta. And yeah, I'm very happy to have you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. I am emotional healer, and I specialize in working with emotions, emotional patterns, thought patterns relating to emotions, um, and many other things that can help people to, I would like to say, feel better, but the truth is not just feel better, but actually be better at feeling.
Yes.
So yeah, I call myself as Ruta K because my surname is extremely long, so I just shorten it in the first two letters, and that's how I am known.
Well, I'm very happy to have you. We have decided to start a accountability partnership where we like to both encourage each other to move forward whatever our projects are in life, which led us to the topic of taking responsibility for our own lives and yeah, how that goes in general and how it is for other people and if people take responsibility or not and why. And yeah, maybe I can ask you the first question.
Okay.
So I was reading through your bio,
Mhm.
and you said you came from kind of like a perfect background, which I can relate to very much. And then things started to go south,
Mm.
um, emotionally and mentally. And
Mm.
then you kind of tried every method under the moon
Mm.
to get out of it. And in
Mm.
terms of like taking responsibility, where do you find, where did you find the power and the will to actually do that instead of, drowning in self-pity?
Responsibility for my life was kind of um, choice, conscious choice. It was like this. Uh, it wasn't like, funnily enough, it didn't even have much kind of optimism or positivity to start with. It was like, okay, I'm at this very, very low place right now. I don't think I can go any lower. So what if I just try these things? What if I just try? I have nothing to lose. So it really came from the place where I basically had nothing to lose anymore. And instead of saying this thing happened to me and that thing happened to me and this person did that to me and another person did something else to me, I was at the place where I couldn't any longer blame anybody else. And I was like, okay, okay, let's do this. Let's see. You know, how about you? Did you have any point where you decided that enough is enough and um, you know, it's a time to take responsibility for your life and what you are doing?
Um, Several.
Mm.
Even though I believe I've always been the kind of person who, when I felt like I'm in an environment where I can't advance anymore, I can't learn
Mm.
anything anymore, then I move to a different environment. I've kind of
Right.
always intuitively done that, but a big black hole for me definitely was 3 years ago. There was so many things in that year. Like my relationship was broken. I had terminated a pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
I had no money. My career wasn't going anywhere. I felt like I couldn't go out with my friends because I had no money and nothing to offer. And I was just so down that at one point I was just like, okay, I give up. Like that's it. Just keep throwing things at me because like I'm so
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And that's when somehow I think there was an opening where I was ready for other modalities to come in. I kind of always knew that I wouldn't be the person like sitting on the couch being depressed and being like life is shit and just complaining. But there was a point in my life where I'm like, okay, well I guess that's what I'll do then. Just hit me.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
but then other things started to enter my life, and then I slowly and gradually came back on track. And the completion process was one modality, but there was another self-hypnosis modality that I did, and just people that I kept discovering. But I often ask myself, is it really necessary to like be so low before you like find a different direction?
Yeah.
Because what I believe in is that it's not necessary.
Yeah. I actually, on the point that you said, like, is it necessary to be so low to actually start changing something? I actually discovered it kind of like, at least in my life, it works like this. It's like, say, something hits you and you ignore it. Something hits you again and you ignore it. Another time, the same thing or a similar thing hits you and you kind of keep on pretending things are fine. And you keep on ignoring it. Next time, something will come that will actually bring you quite low. And then you will be at the place where you have to be that low to actually change something. So what I'm trying to do now is this. It's like something comes up which I would like to ignore because it's an unpleasant thing to deal with. But I'm like, okay, there is something not right with this. There is something not right with this. It bothers me, and let's deal with this before let's say universe or life or circumstances make me deal with that. So I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I totally understand. I can totally relate. Like I like to say that, okay, well, if you're not happy with a situation and you cannot make yourself get out of it, you can be sure that the universe is going to bring a storm at some point.
Yeah.
But do you want that storm is the question, because it's not very pleasant.
I hate the storm. I really hate the storm, and I think the reason why right now, I'm dealing with the issues when it comes, or at least as soon as I can, is because I hate the storm. I don't like the storm.
But you were talking about like these little hints that the universe or life gives you, and then you ignore it. I think maybe that's the point, because what I experience often when I tell people about my life, and I've been doing things differently for the past 10 years, different than anybody else and different from what anybody else expected of me as well. But when I talk to people, I often feel this kind of, it's not a jealousy, but maybe it's envy, and a kind of like, well, your life is so exciting, and ours is not. And I'm thinking, well, that's a choice. And from what you were saying about these little signs that you get, maybe people need to get better at these kind of signs, because when they tell me that my life is so exciting, people could take that as a sign that maybe there's something that they could change about their lives, Yeah,
and I I also kind of noticed that, let's say, if you know, if someone is jealous, it's like usually because they are preventing themselves from doing what they want, because there is usually some kind of belief or pattern or something that they would be saying, well, okay, she's doing that, but I am doing the right thing. But they would like to do that. They would. It feels like they would want to do that, what I do, but there is this kind of either thought or belief or something that prevents them from doing it. I mean, I believe, also like, the way you gone around about changing your life and living how you want is different from what I'm doing or how I am doing. So we have differences. I mean, I'm taking a staged approach with taking baby steps, having a paid job for 4 days per week, and also building this healing career for another 3. So, my choice was like this. But then your choice was different. Your approach was different. Would you like to share?
I don't know if it was that much different. I mean, what I started out with was wanting to go in the direction of opera.
Yeah.
And I've always tried to do the healing and the singing, both. But then I noticed that, I mean, it was very hard. It was a struggle. Like when I was in a relationship, I had a partner I could rely on. There was a very secure job, But being alone is very hard, and living in a city that is very expensive, and just living here is very expensive. I also had like little jobs on the side. Maybe not like you. I didn't like apply for like something corporate or something like a real 9-to-5 jobs, but little jobs anyway that I got. And I realized a few months ago that I'm like, damn, I always have like a back door,
Oh, yes.
It's really, really hard to close that back door.
Yeah.
And I mean, as much as taking responsibility for your life and for your joy means to actually do something that you do want to do, I think it's important that you don't have to give everything up that you already have. Like, you don't have to like quit your job tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I completely agree, because like once you get reading all of the things in the spiritual community, the idealistic view is follow your joy, quit your job tomorrow and start doing what you want. But for some time I haven't done it, and for some time I was feeling quite self-conscious about that. It's like one part of me would really like to do it, but there is another part of me who's like, because I don't have anyone that I depend on, so like the rent, the food, everything, the normal living expenses, where I'm gonna get that from? And that part of me who is really concerned about security was like, no, we can't we can't just quit the job tomorrow and then go follow the dream, because what's gonna happen, knowing myself, is 1 week excitement, 2nd week excitement, 3rd week starting to be less excited and more anxious, 4th week full-blown depression. What have I done? So I think with this, taking responsibility for your life and doing what you want, I believe it also includes knowing yourself and knowing what you need to feel safe, or to be able to transition from one place to another place. Even though I do think it's, oh my God, this is happening so slow, but I would be way more terrified and anxious and panicky if I would just quit my job tomorrow and just do the healing career from that day on.
Right, and the thing is, like, as much as you may have been ignoring that part that wants to do the healing. If you now
Yeah.
jump to that, you would be totally ignoring the other part that is like, hey, but actually I want to know that I have food tomorrow, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yes. 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 And like survival requires supplies. It's the truth. I wish, like, partially, okay, I don't totally wish, but partially I wish I could have such a strong belief and faith that yes, everything is going to work out for me perfectly, no problem. But having a history of struggle, including financial struggle, and not really knowing exactly how to go about paying my rent or other things is like another part is like hell no, 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 no.
yes. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I can say for me at the moment, I'm at a point where I feel like I want to completely restructure what I offer um, as a coach. And it's kind of difficult to be completely dependent on that income and restructure it at the same time.
Yeah.
So what I have decided is also to take on another job to sustain this period where I'm in creation,
Yeah.
right? And it's an interesting feeling process because I had just closed another back door of another job, but it feels different to me. But then, of course, to people from the outside, it might look like, well, she's never going to make it. You know, now she's
Yeah.
doing another thing.
Yes.
And of course, that's reflecting something that's within me.
Yeah.
So, like, there are moments in time where I'm like waking up, I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
But anyone who tells you you're not going to have these thoughts is lying.
Yeah.
Because I feel building something for yourself is the best and the most difficult thing that you can do. And it's hard. There's this a marketing coach that or maybe he would disagree. I don't know how I should describe him. But anyway, this guy that I follow who says entrepreneurship sucks because you have a ton of work and you're lonely. Or let's say maybe not lonely, but alone.
Yeah.
Because you just have so much work to do. And also you need patience because it's going
Yeah.
to not just drop on you tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, when it comes to taking responsibility, it also means like being aware of the consequences and for people
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
who are considering, building something.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe one of the main reasons why people quit.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, taking responsibility, I mean, is not, it's very kind of down to earth way of actually going about to achieve your dreams. Because you take responsibility, when you actually fully take responsibility, you take the risk. So, all of those people who say, okay, she's like, yeah, she's me. Okay, let's take me as an example. I invest all my money and time in doing like some courses and things like that when other people are in a holiday, in Barbados. And I'm like, no, I'm actually going to do this retreat where we're going to be working on our shadow side. And I put it on my credit card, so my investments goes like that. And even my time off of the job that I have is like, I barely have any time for holiday because I'm investing all time that I can into building this thing. And some people, like I hear like some people like, oh, I just like, no, I wouldn't choose to spend my holiday like that, or I wouldn't choose, like to invest my money for that. Why would you do that? And I understand that, it's kind of like a point of choice where you say, okay, so I have these resources, and I say I want this dream. I say I want this career. I say I want to step into this role fully. So what do? I can, of course, go on holiday and spend my money there and say, yeah, I really want to do that, but actually, I need a holiday, so I went on a holiday. Or I consciously decide that a holiday is great and everybody needs it, but actually I choose. I choose to invest my time, energy, money into this thing that I
Hmm.
want. So I take responsibility for my choices. Of course, sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I regret it. Sometimes I'm very
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
But I think it's, taking responsibility comes in with understanding both sides, not just like, okay, this is all gonna be uh, blue skies and, birds singing and like running in the field with the daisies.
Yeah.
You understand it's gonna be hard as well. But what do
Yeah.
you want to do? You know?
Yeah. I was thinking a little bit what responsibility actually means.
Mm,
And if you like break down the word, I don't actually know if that's like the correct way to do it, but the
mm,
ability to respond.
mm,
Um, and so this means also, in the case of how do you want to live your life, like the ability to respond to life,
yeah.
you know? Um, and it could be that you hit a point in time where you say, you know what? Now I have a different desire.
Yeah.
Now I want family and I want a job, a
Mm,
normal job. Um,
mm,
and then being responsible means to be okay with that also.
yeah.
And it's kind of a scary thing.
It is. It is scary because I think also responsibility links to maturity very, very much. Because when you become responsible for yourself, you don't get to blame others and the life and the circumstances. You you choose. You choose to actually do it or not to do it. So it's a conscious choice. And it cannot work with somebody who who doesn't want to take responsibility.
Hmm.
So I believe that you can like, of course, maybe some people are extremely lucky or they have this amazing faith in things working out just fine, with no fears or anything. I don't know. I never met anybody really like that,
Hmm.
but maybe there are people like that who exist. But generally, what I see, if I look at the people who are actually doing what they want to do, it's courageous act of taking responsibility and ownership for what you choose to do, or
Hmm.
including the risks that you're taking and including the things that you choose not to have,
Hmm.
you know.
What would you um, say is would be the best advice for someone who feels, okay, something's knocking on my door now, and actually I've always been wanting to do this and that.
I have a very good method which I use. Like, I used it for I don't know how many years and it always worked for me, which goes like this. When I'm, say, old, very old, and I'm about to die, which choice do I regret? Not which thing do I regret more not taking? Do I regret not staying in my job for another 7 years, or I regret not taking this exciting opportunity that involves risks? So
Hmm.
so how so it helps for me to kind of step in
Hmm.
that perspective at the end of the day, at the end of the life. What would I regret more not doing? And then I do that.
Yeah.
How
Oh,
about you?
that's a good thing. That just reminded me, like, because when you were asking, like, one of the first questions you asked me if I had
Yeah,
moments,
yeah.
that changed something, and I had a moment that was, I think, 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I was in Italy. I had just been kicked out of a singing competition at the first round, even
Oh,
though it was like one of the only times where I was actually happy with how I had sung. And
yeah.
I actually had other singers tell me that I had sung well. But anyway, at that moment, I was just really done. I was staying
Mm,
with a couch surfer. I had booked the whole week because, of course, I didn't
mm,
know how many rounds I would pass. of the
Yeah.
competition, and I was just so done with it. My poor host from couch surfing, he was trying to cheer me up. I'm like, no, like, you don't get it. I've been trying this like for years now and it's just not working. Um, but anyway, then this guy is an actor also, as a kind of professional hobby. And
Mhm.
they had a midnight performance outdoors in some kind of old amphitheater somewhere. So you had like a midnight walk there through, Italy, Liguria. And then you would end up in this place where they had like little acting group and musicians and stuff. And then you were supposed to spend the night out there in the amphitheater under the sky. And I'm like, I don't know if I should go. I don't know anybody. My Italian is okay, but not perfect. It's midnight, I'm tired, I'm on my period, like, and
Mhm.
I don't know, and maybe I'll get sick. And I had all these excuses in my mind.
Mhm.
And then I was like, you know what?
Mhm.
I want to have stories to tell.
Mhm.
I want to not have to tell my grandkids, if I'll ever have them, oh, that one night I had this great opportunity, but then I decided to stay in and sleep, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn it, I'm just gonna go.
Mm.
And it was one of the most amazing nights I ever had. Like, I still have goosebumps, actually,
Mm.
because it was so magical. It was freezing, even
Mm.
though it was Italy, but it was June and it was really misty and moist. And actually, some people left during the night, but then we were all there in this amphitheater on the grass with our yoga mats and sleeping bags. And there was
Mhm.
a guy playing singing balls
Mm.
all night long. And
Mm.
it was just like, I'm not going to focus on how cold I am. I'm just going to focus on how beautiful. And it was like absolute magic. In the morning, there was someone who came to play the harp, and
Oh.
some people had warm tea at least. And it was just one of the most amazing nights ever. And I'm like, okay, I get it, you know.
Yes. Yes. It applies. It applies to me. I think I had some good, really good moments like that when I was like society, even like you know, even to do not necessarily do I want to do this or I don't want to do it, but also sometimes society would probably say I should not be doing it. My mom and my grandmother would probably say I should not be doing it.
Yeah.
But when I die, what do I regret more? Yeah, okay, I do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like I had such a good memories because of that. Like
Hmm.
my life is like okay, my life is not perfect, of course, but my life is so much more richer because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, what I would say, like, if someone comes and has something knocking on their door, um, there are two things. First, you don't have to change your whole life. You know,
Yeah.
look at what's working and look at what's not working,
Yeah.
um, and maybe like add a little bit of what you would like to do, and then let it develop. But also, what I think is almost more important is share. Like, so many people just keep these little secret dreams or ideas or sparks of,
Yeah.
inspiration to
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that pretty much everyone has something like that,
Yeah.
right? The moment you start sharing it, you're like, oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
actually not alone.
Yeah.
I feel like that is almost as just as important as starting to do it is to start sharing and talking about it.
Also sharing, I think sharing also shows ownership and responsibility because like when you kind of like probably like I know when you have this thing dream or something but you think I don't know it's probably silly but then it starts to become stronger and then you start talking about it actually I feel like you are grounded, you kind of make it more real because as long as it is like just there, it's just there, it's just something that you think you will never be able to reach it, but when you start speaking about it This is probably quite relevant to you and what you're doing with the voice, and the sound. They say the sound is one of the first manifestations of the like a physicality. So when you express something in sound, in your words, you actually make it real. You make it more real than just thinking about it. So, and another miraculous thing that starts to happen, miraculous, but probably it's very normal, you start to find people who help you with that. Like how I found you, for example, like I feel it's a very, like if I wasn't upfront with, yeah, I want to go there, I want to participate in this training, I would have never like met you or, some other people. So sometimes to achieve your dreams, you need some other people too. And if you don't speak, when you don't speak about your dreams and what you want, how are you going to find them? How are you going to find somebody who will be on board with that?
Yeah. I think this is a very beautiful closing line, because I think we're kind of running out of time a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I don't know if there's anything that you would like to add still that's on your mind when it comes to responsibility and encouraging people to be responsible.
It takes courage to be happy. It takes courage to be happy.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
And you? Anything that is on your mind and you would like to nicely add to wrap this conversation up?
Just dare. And nobody's perfect and no path is perfect. And yes, it will be difficult, but it will also be beautiful. And yeah, you don't have to throw everything completely out the window, It's just idealism in a way. That's not working.
Thank you for having this brilliant idea to do this kind of conversation. I also enjoyed it very much, and it's interesting, like even though we were speaking before, it feels like because we didn't pre-stage this thing, we just brainstormed about the topics. It's like, as we talked, like some things come out, and some new realizations pop up. So I think it was very good.
And if people want to contact you, they can do that
on www.rutakct.com. We'll probably put the link on description somewhere.
Yeah.
How about you?
I am currently going to restructure my website. You can still find it. It's friederikepeters.com. But the best to contact me is either via email, that's hello@friederikepeters.com, or find me on Instagram, that's friederike.peters. So
okay.
All my name.
Okay. All right. Have a nice day.
You too.